Today I'm going to start with new topic insurance. Now what is insurance? Insurance is a means of protection from the financial loss. Insurance is a contract represented by a policy in which an individual or entity receive financial protection or reimbursement against losses from an insurance company. It is a form of risk management basically used to hedge, means to protect against the risk of contingent or uncertain loss. Insurance is a contract between the insurer and the insured. Insurer means the company who is giving you insurance, and insured means the person who is protected against certain loss. So here insurance is a contract between whom? Insurer and the insured, whereby the insurer, that means the company like LIC, agrees to compensate the insured against loss. The insured has to pay certain fixed sum of money on timely basis to the insurer. The insured has to pay premium on certain terms and conditions. Now I'm going to explain this in detail. We are going to understand what is insured, what is insurer, what is premium. So first is insured. As I told you, the person who is protected against certain loss. Insured is known as assured also. Okay, he is known as assured in case of life insurance contract, and he is the policy holder. Insurer, what is insurer? The firm or a person who agrees to compensate the insured against losses for consideration. Here consideration means premium. Insurer is known as assurer in case of life insurance contract because he is bound to get the sum assured on the maturity of policy, or the nominee will get the sum assured on the death of policy holder. Next, insurance premium. It is the amount of money an individual or business pays for the insurance policy. Now this premium is an income for insurance company. It also represent liability, as the insurer must provide coverage for the claims being made against the policy. Okay, and one more thing is failure to pay the premium may result in cancellation of policy. You may be thinking now, wow, insurance company works. So for example, if there are two persons, A and B, and A is saying to B that I will give you 10,000 rupees if I lose my cell phone, you will have to buy new one. So if B agrees, then that's insurance. Insurance companies make money because they evaluate the risk and decide whether it's worth the gamble. Now B believes that A probably won't lose his phone and he will therefore be 10,000 rupees richer. Now if B finds 100 more people who are willing to give him 10,000 rupees each to cover their phones, he has 10 lakhs rupees. Now if one of those 100 people loses their phone and B pays 10,000 rupees as a compensation, now he still has 9,90,000 rupees in his hand. So this is how insurance company work. Next is policy. Policy is a statement of contract between the insured and insurer. It contains terms and conditions of insurance contract. Next is claim. It is the demand made by the insured to the insurer to compensate for loss occurred due to any mishap. If anything happened, then the insured will claim for the compensation. Next is proposal. It is a request by the insured to the insurance company to issue insurance policy. Proposal form is the most important and basic document required for insurance contract between the insured and the insurance company. It includes insured's fundamental information like address, age, name, education, occupation, etc. It also includes the person's medical history. This proposal form helps the insurance company to calculate all the potential risk in relation to the insurance policy and hence deciding the premium amount. Next is subject matter. It refers to the subject or the entity, that is life, property, cargo or ship, etc., which is insured against which the policy is taken. These are some of the basic terms in insurance, that is insured, insurer, premium, policy, claim, proposal, subject. Now we are going to see the principle of insurance. First is principle of utmost good faith. The principle of utmost good faith is the most basic and primary level principle of insurance, and it applies to all kinds of insurance policy. It simply means that the person who is getting insured must willingly disclose to the insurer all his complete and true information regarding the subject matter of insurance. Similarly, the insurer must provide relevant information regarding the terms and conditions of the contract. That means a principle of utmost good faith is applicable to both the parties, insured and insurer. Both of them have to provide clear and correct information. Now, failure to provide complete and correct information may lead to non-settlement of claim. Something or sometime it may happen that if the insured is hiding something, some fact, then it may lead to non-settlement of claim. For example, if there is a person and he wants to take health insurance but he has not provided information regarding his heart surgery at the time of taking policy. So now after his death, insurance company comes to know about this fact that this person has not provided us correct and complete information. He has hide his health problem. Then what will happen? Insurance company can refuse to give compensation to his family members. Next, second principle of insurable interest. That means there should be financial interest in the subject matter for whom I am taking insurance. I should have insurable interest in that subject matter. Insured must have insurable interest. Insurable interest is applicable to all the insurance contract, whether it's a life insurance or any other insurance. It is said to have insurable interest in subject matter when the existence of that subject matter puts the insured in financial benefit, whereas non-existence of subject matter put him into financial loss. For example, a person has insurable interest in his own life and property. A businessman has insurable interest in the goods he deals and in the property of the business. If he has sold the goods, he is no longer owner of the goods. Then if anything happens to the goods, insurance company is not liable to pay any compensation because he is no longer owner. He has sold his goods, now somebody else is owner. So in that case, he will not get any compensation. In life insurance, the insurable interest refers to the life insured. The insurable interest must exist at the time of taking a life insurance policy. In fire and marine insurance, the insurable interest must be present at the time of taking policy or at the time of occurrence of loss. So that means you can get your car, bike, home, gold insured because you have insurable interest in that object. But you can't get your neighbor's car insured. You don't have insurable interest in your neighbor's car. And the benefit, because you do not have insurable interest in that, you're getting your neighbor's car is not your car. Next is principle of indemnity. Principle of indemnity says that insurance is not to make profit but only to compensate you against the losses incurred. It is an assurance to restore the same position which was there before the loss. It that means a guarantee or assurance to put the insured in the same financial position in which he was immediately there prior to the happening of uncertain event. This principle is applicable to fire, marine, and general insurance. It is not applicable to life insurance, as the loss of life can never be measured in monetary terms. In case of a death of an insured, the actual sum assured is paid to the nominee of the insured. So, for example, if a person is earning 1 lakh rupees per month, then rupees 2 to 3 crore is a good life insurance for a person. They cannot take rupees 500 crore insurance even if they can pay the premiums, because then the intention is not to cover your financial loss but to benefit from the insurance policy. That's exactly the reason why housewife does not get very high insurance, because the motive is to profit from the death of non-earning member and not replace the income which the person was earning. One more thing is that in this principle, the insurer agrees to compensate the insured for the actual loss suffered. The amount of actual compensation is limited to the amount assured or the loss, whichever is less. If the property is insured for rupees 2 lakh and if the loss by fire is 1 lakh, then the insured can claim compensation for 1 lakh only. Why? Because here, as I told you, that insurance is not to earn profit but to put the insured in the same financial position in which he was there before. So if the loss is for rupees 1 lakh, then company is, or even if the insurance is for 2 lakh rupees, but the company will pay only 1 lakh rupees, which is the actual loss. Next is principle of subrogation. As per this principle, once the insured is paid for the losses due to damage to his insured property, then the ownership right of such property shift to the insurer. So if your car, bike, house or valuable which have insured is fully damaged, and once you get compensation from the insurance company, then they get the ownership of such item, and now they can sell off the remains to recover their dues by that process. So that means you cannot benefit from the remains of that item. Now, for example, if you have car insurance and the car is stolen, now the insurance company will pay you full claim. However, now the ownership right are transferred to the insurance company. And if the car is found in the future by the police, then it will be owned by the insurance company. And if there is another case, is that if the car is insured and the car is badly damaged beyond the use, in that case the insurance company will pay you the claim fully. Now you can't say that you will still sell off the car parts by getting it repaired, because you lost the right to property. Here the same principle applies, that you cannot have profit from the insurance. It's not like you will get compensation also and you will get your car also back. This cannot happen. Next is principle of contribution. This principle is applicable to all the contract of indemnity. That means it is applicable to all the insurance policy, but it is not applicable to life insurance, because as I told you that loss of life can never be measured in monetary terms. Under this principle, the insured can claim the compensation only to the extent of actual loss, either from one insurer or from all the insurers. See, it happens that sometime the persons take insurance from more than one company. Under this principle, the insured can claim the compensation only to the extent of actual loss, either from one insurer or all the insurer. If the one insurer pays full compensation, then that insurer can claim the proportionate amount from the other insurers from whom insured has taken policy. For example, if you have taken health insurance policy from two companies A and B, both for rupees 5 lakh sum, and if there is a claim of 4 lakh, then each insurer is liable to contribute 2 lakh each will. It's not like both the company will give you 4 lakh. Again, you cannot earn profit. Next is principle of mitigation of loss. That means mitigation means minimization. Insured must always try to minimize the loss of the property in case of certain events. The insured must take all the possible measures and necessary steps to control and reduce the losses. For example, if you have taken car insurance and there is a small fire in the car, if the car is insured, the insured person cannot just sit and relax thinking that car is insured and he will get claim for sure. He's sitting, he's not doing anything to control the fire. So if insurance policy comes to know that the person has not done anything to control fire, then in that case you will not get any compensation. Another example is that if a house of Mr. A is on fire due to electric shock circuit, in that case Mr. A cannot remain passive and must try his best to save his house from the fire. Mr. A must be active and cannot watch his house burn just because his house is insured. Next, last principle is principle of causa proxima. Causa proxima means nearest cause. Insurance company is going to see the nearest cause. Principle of causa proxima means when a loss is caused by more than one causes, then proximate nearest cause of loss should be taken into consideration to decide the liability of the insurer. The property is insured against some causes and not against all the causes. In such a case, the proximate cause of loss is to be found. If the proximate cause is the one which is insured against the insurance company, is bound to pay compensation. And if the nearest cause is not the one which you have insured, then you will not get any compensation. For example, a cargo ship base was punctured by rats, and because of that puncture, sea water entered the ship. If you look at the events, there are two reasons for the damage of the ship. First, rats punctured the base of the ship, which is farthest, and next is sea water entered the ship closest. Here the insurance company will have to pay because the ship was insured against sea water entering the ship, and that the reason was closest. Another example can be, for example, house was insured against the risk of the theft, and there was theft in the house, and before leaving